Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Esmeralda Rodriguez Eguia, and I'm the Director of Programs here at ALPFA National. I'm very excited to welcome you to this ALPFA Live call where we're going to be discussing everything that you need to know before we get to convention. We're going to be touching base on programming, on different partners that are going to be in attendance, and we're also going to be giving some tips and tricks on how to best navigate the space that we are going to be in. Hi.
Hey, how y'all doing? I thought I was on another prep call. Did I interrupt you guys?
We're live.
We're live.
With a bunch of people that are going to be joining us at convention.
Hey, everybody. You mind if I go ahead and say a couple things before you all kick it back off? Is that okay?
Of course.
Awesome. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. I guess I got to reframe my mindset, reframe my story for what's about to happen over the next 30 seconds. I will tell you what, the main purpose of the ALPFA Convention, reframe your story. Think about what's happening right now across the world, the opportunity we have to be able to make sure that people understand the impact that we can have, each of us individually and collectively. It makes me think a lot about the time when I was giving interviews, and I was always asked to tell why it was so hard to grow up in Harlem. Damien, why was it so hard for you in Harlem? And one day I just got upset about the question and something triggered in my head. And what I said was, you know what? I'm going to tell you why I am better because I grew up in Harlem. You see, in that moment, I didn't realize what I was doing was reframing my story. I told them I am a better person because I grew up in Harlem. I am more empathetic. I am better able to communicate, to engage in communities and take a seat at the table. I know how to navigate so many different opportunities that are out there because of growing up in Harlem. Then I said, do you want me to say why it was hard to grow up there at all? And their response was, no, we understand what you're saying. And my point there is, it is time for all of us to make sure that we are reframing the stories that we have and making sure that we are sharing them with each other, because with every share of our stories, the power that we have individually turns into something collectively that exponentially grows in the power that we have as a community to be able to make impact in this world. And we will do that together at convention. It is critically important that the professionals and students are able to connect with each other, be able to share those stories with each other, to be able to support each other in this moment. And so I will stop there and say thank you for giving me an opportunity to be able to be here with you in this moment. And those that were unsure about what reframe meant, now you know. And now it's time for you to get more of the know before you go. And I'm going to pass it over to y'all to go ahead and continue with it. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at convention. I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you, Damien. I mean, I feel like a lot of us have that moment in our life where we begin to understand our histories and understand ourselves in a different light, in a different context. So highly connect to the story that Damien was able to share in that impromptu pop-in. But I guess now I will introduce some of the other people that are on the call as well, who are going to be joining us in imparting a lot of this information to y'all. So on the call, we have Jamelfrey Pacheco and Sandy Paulino, who I'm going to pass the baton off to briefly introduce themselves before we dive into the content of today's call. Jamelfrey.
Hey, y'all. So I'm Jamelfrey Pacheco, as Esmeralda said, and I'm Director of Community Impact here at ALPFA National. And so I'm really excited to be joining y'all on this call to talk about convention, but even more excited to be seeing y'all in a couple of days. I can't believe we're just, like 11 days away? And so it's going to be awesome. I'm excited to reconnect with so many of you and to meet so many new people. But I'll hand it off to Sandy so that he can introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you, Jamelfrey. Thank you, Esmeralda. We can always depend on Damien to liven things up right from the jump. But yeah, my name is Sandy Paulino. I'm the operations coordinator here with ALPFA National. And my journey with ALPFA has been a pretty diverse one, from student to professional volunteer, now with National, being able to kind of see how all the moving parts work. Super excited. Convention is going to be bigger than last year, just like it is every year. So let's get going.
Thank y'all. And I just want to give like a really brief shout out to Gisela, who's running the tech in the background. Thank you, Gisela. Some of you might know her by name. Some of you might know her by name and face. So she'll also be joining us in convention in 11 days. So let's jump into a bit of our conversation. So I know some folks are having some questions, some wonderings about travel and logistics. Jamelfrey, what do you think are some things that you want to highlight for people as they plan their arrival to convention?
Yeah, so convention starts on August 4th. Really, convention starts now, if we want to be real. But August 4th, we have a lot of workshops that are going to be taking place on that day, info sessions. Our welcome experience is going to be that day as well. And so that is our first day being together on site at Caesar's Palace for our 2024 convention. And so it goes through the 8th. And so make sure that you guys are just taking the time to prepare for those days. We have our career days throughout that week as well. There's a lot going on. And so it's really important as you start thinking about preparing for convention, for you to really just get in the mindset and start preparing ahead of time in terms of the schedule and leveraging Attendee Hub to make your plans and things like that for what you're going to attend. In terms of registration hours, so we actually have registration hours each day. Day one, it starts kind of in the middle of the day as people are starting to arrive, and it goes later into the evening. So make sure that as soon as you get on site to Las Vegas, that you join us at registration, get to meet some of the volunteers that are going to be there supporting, ask questions, things like that. Really just get ready to engage starting that very first day.
Thank you so much. So you're set up, you've looked at the Attendee Hub, or folks may be pulling up their Attendee Hub now. What are some programming and experiences that our attendees are going to be able to see at convention? What's actually going to be going on?
For this one, I can definitely help out. We have a diverse range of programming. One of the things I'm most excited to see is the things that we're doing with tech and AI. One of our biggest events at convention is going to be Moody's The Infinite Game. It's going to tackle some global issues like cybersecurity, financial crimes, modern day slavery, and then how innovative technologies are they're being leveraged to address those issues. We'll have high level speakers, entrepreneurs, celebrities. Not to drop any names, but you guys will definitely recognize some people. And then we're also, as far as our intersectional members, we have a lot of different programs and groups like Veterans, Women of Alpha, and Pride. So really trying to reflect the membership that we have. And then we're tackling a bunch of industries, so data and tech, corporate real estate, federal government, consumer goods, even. So this is just a variety of things that are valuable for a lot of our members, and we're really trying to reach into some different backgrounds.
And I know something that's really important to so many of our professionals as well. We have a lot of CPE opportunities. We have our powerful perspectives, which we started last year. This year, we've been able to grow that programming even more. So I'm definitely encouraging our professionals to take advantage of these opportunities to engage with this programming, and then opportunities for entrepreneurs. Like, I think entrepreneurship is one of the biggest areas that piques a lot of our students and professionals' interests as well. It's a pathway to wealth building, and so we do have some unique opportunities for those entrepreneurs as well. And our pitch competition, don't miss it. Please don't miss it. It's going to be such an awesome experience, and we want to be able to fill that room and have you guys really witness the magic that happens on stage when these brilliant people just come and share their innovative ideas and pitch their the different things that they're coming up with as well as entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Jamelfrey and Sandy. And fun fact, I didn't say this at the top of the call, but this is going to be my very first ALPFA convention as an employee, but also as an attendee. And there's a lot of things about how programming is set up that just really pique my interest. I think people should really pay attention to how some of these sessions are segmented, or how we are intentionally targeting particular audiences, professionals, students, different career levels. I think it's really important because with a convention this size, it really highlights how we're thinking about all of our stakeholders and all of our members and speaking to all of their experiences. I did have a hand in helping plan out the Powerful Perspectives one. I think that will be an interest to people across multiple levels, because one of those sessions is on the pathway to the C-suite level. And we have 2 former C-suite leaders who are coming in to share their experiences. And I had an opportunity to eavesdrop on their prep call, and they have such wonderful wisdom to share to our stakeholders. So looking forward to seeing you all at some of these workshops, and looking forward to sneaking into some of them myself. But because there is a lot going on, it's a jam-packed week. Also, a lot of people are going to be around. When thinking about programming itself and all the different, the career fair, the interviews, the workshops that are happening, what are your pieces of advice to people on how to prepare ahead of time for those different experiences?
So I want to kick us off by just really talking to our students right now. Take advantage of Student Bootcamp. It is a great way for you to really start preparing and making sure that you have all of the building blocks for career fair days. Sandy, I know that you experienced ALPFA as a student. So do you want to talk a little bit about what that felt like preparing?
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of different kind of avenues for students to pull from when it comes to connecting and getting ready for career fair and the workshops. I know some organizations have had pre-convention sessions where they work on your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your elevator pitch, and then you also have going up to convention, just honestly as something as simple as like YouTubing what a career fair looks like if you haven't been to one, especially if you haven't been to alphas, like check our videos out that we have, just kind of like how to navigate the career fair space itself. Do some research on organizations that you want to connect with, or individuals that you know will be there that you want to connect with. And I definitely, speaking of that, recommend getting something like a digital business card, or one of those NFC like tap cards where you can just kind of like tap on someone's phone, or maybe even airdrop your contact to somebody, having a QR code on your lock screen. There's so many different ways. But one big thing I do want to recommend is downloading the Cvent Events app and looking for a 2024 convention, the 2024 ALPFA Convention. From there, you can log in, and then you can start reserving some of your sessions in your agenda.
And what's really awesome about Attendee Hub or the Cvent hub for students is that you guys are actually able to access recorded bootcamp sessions in that portal as well. And so we have some lives taking place today through Friday, but definitely don't think that there's not more material and that there aren't more resources available there for you. Because you'll be able to also access all of the recorded boot camps through the Attendee Hub as well as a student.
One thing I do want to add, is to relieve some pressure before you get into the career fair, before you meet thousands of people that are going to be there, is to be as prepared as possible. And then once you get there, just kind of let the experience be what it's going to be. There's no pressure to land a job or to meet anyone crazy. Just kind of like take the experience for what it is individually, and don't put any unnecessary expectations on yourselves.
Thank you, Sandy. That's really good advice, because that actually leads me to a next question of how do you advise people to set up goals for themselves while they're at convention? So I know it's do what you were just saying, right? Don't put a lot of pressure for yourself, but how do you set some concrete goals for you to aim at so that your time is well spent there?
We're both like jumping at this question. That tells you how important it is. So when I'll give you some advice just based on how I like to prepare. I always like to think about what are the key things that I need. What are the things that I'm great at and that I'm contributing, right? Because I think there's that what am I getting from this, and then what am I bringing to it as well. The more you're in tune with what those two things are, the more you're able to get what you need out of convention, and the more that you're able to become a resource for those who are there as well, right? So like really spending time thinking through, these are my career goals for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years, even for the next 10 years. 10 years is a shot, but think about that, right? Because having that vision for yourself is going to help you figure out what story you're able to tell about who you are. That elevator pitch, right? A story doesn't have to be long. Reframing your story could be reframing your elevator pitch and the way that you present yourself on site at convention as well. Right. So I really encourage for everyone, as you're thinking about your goals, getting ready to attend convention, that you really take the time to reflect on those critical pieces. What is it that you really have needed out of your career, your professional career, your student experience that you feel like you haven't gotten? Convention is a really great place to seek that out, right? And if you're aware of what that is, then you know what to look for, and it's easier to make those connections. So.
Yeah, and just to add a little piece to that, convention is very memorable. Anybody who's been to an Alpha convention can remember something about the event, someone about the event, or that was in the event. So you want to make sure that you leave a lasting impression on the people that you meet. Obviously, a positive one, but that's one thing that you can really, as talking about reframing your story, really kind of like reach into yourself and find out what it is about you that other people will remember. Is it your sense of humor, your background? Maybe you've traveled a lot. Maybe you're studying something that's really uncommon. Maybe you work in a profession that not a lot of people know about. But just pinpoint those things. And as far as like back to Esmeralda's question about setting a goal, is really trying to figure out what it is that you will find successful. Whatever it is that you deem as successful, whether it's getting an interview, connecting with somebody. Maybe you already have an opportunity and you want to meet people in the place or at the organization that you're working with. Just setting that up, and then you'll be able to, in your agenda, kind of tying this all together, is you'll be able to reserve or look for certain sessions that can reach those goals. Right. This is going to be something that I really recommend, is kind of like catering that agenda towards the goals that you set.
And, I think just to add another piece to this, it's really important to balance the tactical with like sort of like that self reflection piece, right? Like there are some tactical things that you can do looking at the agenda. Again, I know we've said it several times already, downloading Attendee Hub. But Attendee Hub is not just a place for your agenda, it's also a place for you to be able to see who's going to be there, right? So creating a plan, figuring out, okay, who are the types of people that I want to get to know. Look them up on LinkedIn, really do a little bit of research to see who else is going to be there. What are their industries? What kinds of things do they post or talk about? And really create a plan that's really robust and hits on the not just the career piece and and those more tactical things you can do to prepare, but also that networking piece, because that can also relieve a little bit of the stress and anxiety that can come with having to be in a space like this and network. So definitely balancing those two things and just thinking about what your strengths are. You know, if you're someone who's already really strong and always prepared in terms of like interviews, maybe networking is the space where you need to spend a little bit more time preparing, right? And so I definitely recommend that you guys think about, well, these are the areas that I'm really great at and I feel really well prepared for. These are the areas that I might need some support. And then find someone that can be like your what's that like your hype, yeah, like your hype man, your hype girl, your hype person, right? Like that person that's going to get you out and networking and talking to people if you're someone who's more introverted. That's something that's really important regardless of whether you're a student or a professional, right? Because we're all different, but we all bring something special. So make sure that you find someone that's going to be that support person for you during those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. They can be that person that's like, wait, the next person you meet might be the person you need to meet, right? So think about it in that way, so that you can make the most out of the experience.
Thank you. I mean, what I really heard from both of your narratives on how to set up goals is that goals is made up of two things. Number one, like the tactical things that you want to do, knowing and understanding your strengths. And then what I heard also in Sandy's answer was really understanding and doing a self-check on what your values are, so that you can lead with your values when you walk into a space, so that you are aligned with yourself. And you can use those values, those things that are important to you, to look at the agenda, to look at who's going to be present, to look at the companies that are going to be represented, and start to ask yourself, what place can I see myself working in? What professionals do I want to make connections with? And it's about your career growth and exploration, but it's also about the inner growth of really supporting and living out those values that you have. And we had a question come in through the chat, Jamel Free. You mentioned the gap, and somebody's wondering if you can give an example of what that gap that you were talking about, like what an example of that would be.
In terms of
when you
attending.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll speak about this personally, because I think that's the easiest way to contextualize it. I think for me, in my career, I always felt a gap in terms of being able to find community. I worked in corporate spaces for a really long time, and very rarely was it with people that looked or sounded like me. So for me, the gap that I was feeling in my professional life was access to community and people who had like really ambitious goals and also looked like me and could connect with me, could connect with my story. Like Damien shared earlier on, I'm from the Bronx, right? And so being in the Bronx, but working in the suburbs and having to code switch and things like that, that was exhausting for a long time, right? And I think going to convention and just seeing so many Latinx professionals and ambitious students and allies, like people who really care about our community and helping to lift us up, that gave me a different energy. It revived me. It helped me really center and anchor on what the next part of my career needed to look like, right? And so that was the gap that I felt, that convention and ALPFA as an organization has helped me to fill, right? So when I mention gaps, it's really about understanding what is that thing that's missing for me that would make me feel whole in the space as I'm navigating my journey as a student, as a professional. It can be a lonely journey, but ALPFA makes it so that it doesn't have to be. So hopefully that answers the question.
It certainly, I that deeply resonated with me, as somebody that has like moved away from where I grew up. So I grew up in South Texas. If anybody is on the call, maybe you're familiar with the Rio Grande Valley, Stark County, anybody out there? Right on the border of Texas and Mexico, and now I'm in Chicago. So it's that and how so much about education and upward mobility has been about avoiding the traps of thinking that I need to be removed from my community in order to be successful, because that is a trap that is laid out before us, because we don't get to see a lot of examples of people from our community making a change, making moves, changing the game, really. And the ALPFA Convention, definitely the broader ALPFA community, is definitely a space for us to be connected in that way. I also want to highlight some other programmatic things that are going to be happening for you to like be on the lookout for. So be on the lookout for anything, any of the receptions that are going to be hosted. Different companies, different organizations host receptions. Be on the lookout for those in the attendee hub. We are going to have a space called La Placita where you could have refreshment breaks and your lunch breaks. Really consider about where you're going to step away to in order to recharge, because there's going to be around 5,000 people around us, y'all. And that is amazing. That is exciting. For some of us, that also sounds completely energy draining. So think about how you're going to take a break and where you're going to go to so that you are able to pick up the mantle and continue on with the day. Also, be on the lookout for any emails for any special invite-only events. Some of you may have already started to receive some invitations to some receptions going on. So check Attendee Hub, but also don't forget to check your email that you registered for the convention for. And we have about 2 minutes for 2-3 minutes for our time with Jamel Free and Sandy. Really quick, what are some quick fire last minute piece of advice that you want to give to folks before we move on to the next portion of our program?
Maximize receptions. It's a great way for you to network and connect with partners, connect with different organizations, people that work, ask questions of the people that work there about the organizations. It's a really just fun space, right? You have all these workshops and it can feel very like serious and intense. And then you get this opportunity to just let your hair down a little bit and be in the space. And so it's really fun.
I'm going to touch on the networking piece. Remember that it is a two-way street. Not only are you trying to connect with other attendees and them with you, but we also have a bunch of vendors and partners and sponsors that are trying to connect with you as well. So if you feel like interest isn't being reciprocated or your energy is better spent with somebody who's providing that for you as well, then definitely don't hesitate to look for those opportunities and connections. Like Esmeralda says, La Placita is a great area. It's kind of like a marketplace full of energy, showcasing Latino culture, heritage, entrepreneurship. There's a bunch of opportunities throughout the convention for you to meet somebody that might change your life, or for you to meet somebody whose life you might change. So definitely don't underestimate the power of putting yourself out there and also being somebody that someone can kind of be themselves with.
And just real quick. So please visit our community impact team at our ALPFA booth on the career fair days, because we have some really special things in the roadmap for memberships, and engage with our chapter leaders and our regional directors. They'll be on site as well. And so they are a resource for everyone. So please make sure that you connect with those folks as well.
Thanks, y'all. So I'm going to give you some snaps for joining us. And we actually have another 2 guests that are going to be joining our call, Gabriela and Chelsea, who are members of ALPFA, coming in to tell us their perspective, their experiences being attendees at convention. So for some of you that may be first time attendees at convention or second time, be listening to their story about how they found themselves attending convention and what their experiences were like. So I would like to welcome Gabriela and Chelsea to the stage. Hi, welcome. So let's first start with some introductions. Chelsea, how about we start with you?
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Chelsea Mercado. I am the chapter president for the Rutgers University New Brunswick chapter. I am a rising junior studying finance, and this will be my second time attending convention. So I'm super excited to network and meet so many great people once again.
Gabriela?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Gabriela. I'm a project management consultant at Lincoln Financial Group. I work with driving successful projects from technology, consulting, and financial sectors. I was born and raised in Peru. I'm a daughter of two Peruvian immigrants who came to the US to seek a better life and pursue the American dream in 2007. I'm the second oldest daughter of a immigrant family. As many of you, I had to study and work to support my family, and I strongly believe in the importance of hard work and perseverance. I'm super excited. This is going to be my second convention to attend. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. So, since both of you are former attendees and you're going to be joining us in a couple of days, I want you to think back on your experiences at convention. What is a moment that has stuck with you from past ALPFA conventions?
So, one moment for me, it's definitely the scholarship luncheon. So, I was a freshman, just a rising sophomore when I attended convention last year. So, I had never been in a room with so many powerful Latinas and Latina allies that just being in that presence of so many important and just amazing people, it was just so empowering. And just being able to sit at the scholarship luncheon, but also talk on stage. That's something I've never had the opportunity to do, just like talk on stage, tell my story, but also get to connect with people from such amazing companies. Like, I remember I got to speak to a managing director from Moody's Investor Services, and that was something I never thought I could ever have the chance at doing, which was something I was so grateful for Alpha to give me, like, just the opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. And to actually touch on that, I remember one experience that really stuck with me was when we had the kickoff of the convention, and there was a mariachi performance. It was super excited to see that taking place. There were so many Latinos there, and as the networking event started, to take place, I realized that this became an opportunity for me to connect with other people, and I was eavesdropping like a total chismosa. I was so intrigued to listen to a conversation of two Latino professionals. They were discussing about the optimization of a service sales process, and I seized the opportunity to just ask them questions, dig deeper into their challenges, ask them about their team dynamics, and ultimately their goals. And it at the end, both of them work at the same industry in the tech and financial sector, and they were also very curious about why I was so interested about the topic. And I started to share my experience as a former product owner and project manager, and I explained how I had tackled similar challenges by automating processes and workflows. And one of them recognized my potential, and he offered me to guide me into crafting a compelling career narrative so I could communicate effectively with other C-suite executives at the convention. So I immediately took the offer. We just had like a quick 15-minute breakfast, and I started writing down everything he would tell me, like everything that I was doing at my job. He just helped me pretty much translate so I could speak the same language as other executives. So it was a great opportunity for me, because I never had anyone to mentor me in that way.
Thank you. And what I hear from that is like that convention offers such organic opportunities for you to stretch your skills, your presentation skills, get on stage and like be in front of people, but also organic opportunities to connect on mentorship. Often we think that mentorship has to be a really formal thing, that you're joining some sort of program where you're being connected. I mean, ALPFA will offer you mentorship 100%, but mentorship also exists in these in-between moments. And Gabriela, that's definitely what I hear in you seized an opportunity in there. And I'm wondering if both of you can think about this question of how did attending that convention, or how did having that conversation or these experiences ultimately benefit your career growth, your personal growth, your educational growth? What have you taken away?
So for me, I can definitely say it enabled me to take charge of my own path and feel empowered. So you're in this presence of so many companies, professionals, and the exposure is plentiful. It wasn't just a place to get an offer, especially as a student. I think that's like a mindset many students come in with, like, I'm just going to get a job here at convention. But there's so much more you could take advantage of. You can get a mentor. You can get lifelong advice that you're going to carry with you as you like continue on with your professional career. You get guidance, you get motivation. And I just think like the general peer network that is at convention is something that really could be tapped into as a student. So personally, like when I came in that room, I was like, wow, this is a room of future VPs, directors, CFOs, CEOs, and it's just so motivating to me because I want to be there one day. And these are people that are going to work alongside me, people that I can look forward to pushing forward, and just in general, just empowering and just pushing the next generation forward until eventually we're in that spot where we're the professional and we're giving advice to those students. So it's just like a nice full circle moment too that I hope to get to one day.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And to touch on that as well, I think for me, attending the conference was super real eye opener for me. Like I realized that there is so much more than just credentials. And I think a lot of professionals sometimes they look at themselves and they're like, oh, I never work in that industry. I don't have those credentials. I don't have the certification. But really what struck me was there's a conversation that I had with a Latina VP. And when I found her on LinkedIn and I learned about her company and what she was doing, how many teams she was managing, I realized she gave me like a whole new lesson. She told me, Gabriela, I could teach you, a tech skill. I could request HR to teach you that certification. But at the end of the day, I need you to work on your presentation and communication skills. I need you to show me your confidence. I need you to speak with the power of our authority. And I didn't know how important was to bring yourself. I think we all Latinos have a lot of charisma, and we don't know that so much that we bring to the table. Working on my soft skills, making sure that like I have someone to listen to my tone of voice, someone who can give me feedback was going to make a crucial impact on my interviews and also social skills. I'm usually an introverted person, but even coming here, being live is an experience for me. And I really appreciate that all the help that I got at that convention, that really helped me a lot. And I'm still working on them. I don't think like I have succeeded my expectations, but I definitely want to keep working on that. So I that's what I could take from it.
Thank you. Yeah, what I keep hearing consistently are the connections that people make across their lived life, like their experiences, their jobs, their interests, all these opportunities to connect with people on multiple levels. And Chelsea, I really like your reminder that students should value their peer networks as well, because that is the connection of, like you said, you're the next VPs, the next chiefs, the next educators, the next business owners that are going to be coming in into your own career paths, and these connections that you're making with one another is also really important. Because I don't know if y'all know this about how networking, people have done research on how networking is successful for people. And we often place a lot of weight on the immediate connections that we have with someone. I know this person. But what studies have consistently shown is that the most successful networking connections for people are actually not always the first connection, but the second connection is that person that you connect with is going to connect you to someone who that person is going to set a trajectory with. So also think about how when you're meeting with people and you're making them a part of your network, or you are becoming part of someone's network, who do you know that you can put them in contact with so that connection across Alpha keeps expanding? Because that is also where a lot of magic is, that we often don't really think about it in that way. But circling back to attending Alpha. So we have y'all were first-time attendees at some point. And we may have a bunch of people on the call that are joining for the very first time. What is your piece of advice to them for those that are attending the ALPFA convention for the first time?
I think the first piece of advice I would give is just come with an open mind. I think just being open minded, there's so many opportunities, so many different things you can gain out of convention. But while you should come with an open mind, come with some set goals. So, what do you want to get out of the convention? Do you want a bigger network? Do you want an offer from a company? More engagement from other alpha members? Do you want a mentor? Just prepare before going in to convention because I know it's August 4th, like that's when it starts, but convention starts now. It starts way before. You should be connecting. You should start reaching out. Like, I think you should start researching companies that you're interested in. And, like, it's such a beautiful and impactful experience that, you don't want it to end with any regrets just because you didn't properly research or prepare. So, kind of like what you were mentioning before of like that peer network of like connecting you to the next person, utilize that at convention. Come ready, and you're going to meet so many different people that might put you in line of what you're looking for out of convention. So, come with goals, come with an open mind, and I promise you, you'll get what you're looking for.
I agree. I agree. I would say from my side, I would say come with a good setting good intentions.
Mhm.
If this is your first time, I will highly suggest that whether it's for to look for jobs or whether it's to make connections, I advise you to be prepared. There's nothing else in this world if you are not prepared. Like you have to make a preparation. So, for example, when I was searching for jobs, one of the things that I would do is I would prepare a spreadsheet, put a list of all the companies that are going to be there at Alpha, then go into the app, download the app, find look for the name of the company, see who's coming, look on them on LinkedIn, get their names, get their URLs on LinkedIn, create like a database of notes and tasks and steps that you're going to follow up with them. I think that was very, very important because trust me, when you look at them online, when you look what they like on LinkedIn, what they're commenting on, they're gonna know that you did your job. And trust me, interesting people like interesting people. They're gonna be like, oh, you search about this topic and they know you were so interested, and they're gonna be curious about you. And the moment you already struck a connection with them, make sure you take a note and follow up with them, a thank you note or like a follow up email. They're gonna remember you, and you never know who you're gonna bump into. But definitely, making the effort and being prepared is gonna make a remarkable impact when you're there.
Thank you. And actually, Gabriela, you started to answer the very next question that I had. It's a couple of questions ago. You said that you overheard a conversation and you just stepped into their dialogue and started to have curiosity about what they were talking about. And that made my heart start to race because in my inner core, I am an introvert. So I started to picture myself in that position. And I thought to myself, that is so brave. How would I ever prepare to get into that mindset to engage with attendees, recruiters, other industry leaders through convention? What are some pre-work that I can do or people like me can do that will help me make a lasting impression on people?
You want to go, Grisela?
You can go first.
Okay. So for me, it's like, to me, it's like all about mindset. I think like your mental health, yeah, doing self care is very important before the convention. What I try to do is like I try to find my biggest cheerleader. It could be your mom, could be your best friend. There are a lot of people who could be cheering for you. So I try to look first at those individuals, and I start to look at the things that I have accomplished and just write them down. What you have accomplished, any emails or like customers or people that admire about you, write it down because those things are going to make you remember who you truly are. And when you're in those conversations, you're not going to feel afraid. You're not what many people are thinking, like your imposter syndrome. No, you're not. Take those facts, those notes with you because they're going to be the ones that are going to push you to make that step and make that conversation, because all you need is to be confident. And in order for you to be reminded about your accomplishments, just take those notes with you.
Yeah, just to echo that a little bit, like definitely come prepared and really to leave that lasting impression. I would say to just be engaged everyone is looking to have a nice time at convention. Like, I promise you, no one's scary. Just have genuine conversations that aren't transactional, and just always remember that you are a person. The person you are speaking to is a person. And I really challenge you to get out of your comfort zone. So maybe you are a bit of an introvert, or maybe you're an extrovert. Try going up to someone that is maybe like a professional at a company, maybe they're high up. Just try it. I promise you, most people there are very nice, and you already have one thing in common. If you are at convention, that means you're either Latina or you're a Latina ally who cares about Alpha. And ultimately, everybody there is following the same goal of trying to empower one another. And I think that connections that you're going to build there, they're for a lifetime. Just make sure that you follow up with them after convention as well, and just really keep that connection going, even past just the initial networking piece.
Thank you so much. Certainly helpful reminders to even someone like me who has had my career for the past decade. Just because I like to read on this, because I genuinely am an introvert. Some other tips and tricks that I've seen about engaging in conversation with people is to think ahead about what your curiosity questions sound like. That it really goes a long way when you're having a conversation with someone, and instead of inserting, oh, I have experienced this too, and then accidentally trying to one up someone, like that. Sometimes we fall into that trap. To just take a pause and ask them to tell you more. Tell me more about that. Tell me how you felt about that. And that opens up the door to having more of a genuine human conversation that will also help you as the listener relax, because then you've begun to, like I said, humanize each other. So think about, what do your curiosity questions sound like in conversation, especially for these networking events. So thank you so much for answering those questions, y'all. There's a lot of opportunities here to continue to leverage connections that are made throughout convention. Certainly, Gabriela made a mention of following up with someone on LinkedIn. So thinking through, before we bring Sandy and Jamelfrey back, because they're coming back in about a minute or two, what is one quick fire piece of advice that you want to give to people on how to continue to leverage those connections that are made during convention, after convention?
I can go first.
You can go. No, it's okay.
Okay, well, so I'm a project manager. So the first thing I think, like, my memory cannot hold all the people that I'm going to meet there. Whenever I have a conversation or whenever I go to a networking event, I try to just have this spreadsheet of what's the conversation that we had, what are some remarkable pieces from that conversation, and follow up with them. Is there's anything that I could think of as reciprocity, like maybe there's something that they need from me or I need from them, write it down, and follow up with them. Like last convention, I met someone there, and this person was able to help me and giving me a lot of resources for the PMP exam that I was preparing to. And I follow up with this individual like many times, even though we never physically met after the convention. But it was really helpful. So I think just being very genuine and making the effort of always remembering why you talked to that person and exactly what the topic was about, it will definitely help you out a lot.
Thank you. So now we're going to welcome Jamelfrey and Sandy back onto the stage, and we're going to think through answering one more question before we start taking a look at some of the questions that are coming in from our listeners. So very quickly, what does the ALPFA Convention mean to you?
I can jump in here. So personally, the convention is definitely a source of inspiration and motivation for me. I think it highlights the importance of representation, mentorship, collaboration, in fostering a diverse and inclusive workforce. And that's something that I'm personally passionate about. And so being able to see how this comes together at the ALPFA Convention is always just a reminder of how important this work continues to be.
For me, the ALPFA Convention means the family reunion. Throughout the years after you've developed your network, you've connected with people at your school, at your local chapter, within your own organization. The Alpha Convention is a great opportunity for people to reconnect with others that they don't get to see regularly. Even if you're in the same city, there's plenty of people. I'm based out of New York, New Jersey, so there's plenty of people in the New Jersey chapter, the New York chapter, the Philly chapter, that we just don't really get to see each other throughout the year except for convention or maybe another alpha event. So aside from the professional, aside from the career opportunities, it's also a great time to meet with your friends and the people that you've connected with throughout the years.
I would say for me, like coming from my background, like I'm a first generation college student, I come from a low income area, like first of my family in college, and I'm also working to provide for myself and also my family. But, for me, it's something like this is a space where everyone is going to come from different walks of life. There are going to be people who are dreaming just the same way I am, and there are going to be people who are dreaming in different ways that I am. But when we all come together at convention, it's all for a common goal to lift one another up. And I think that that is just so inspiring, and just being able to propel the Alpha mission forward. I think convention is just a beautiful space where thousands of different people could come together from all over the country to just come and support this one common goal, which is to both love and just propel each other up.
I agree, 100%. Besides the Alpha Familia, I think like one of the things that means so much to me is just having like these big older brothers and sisters who I can really look up to that I never had as also a first generation Peruvian immigrant here in this country. It's just something remarkable. I would have never imagined myself in a million years, not here nor in Peru, to have experienced that. And people are very genuine. The connections also that I've made are very genuine. So I'm really looking forward to meet so many people again. Jamel Free, Sandy, Chelsea, everyone here. So really looking forward.
And I personally am looking forward to building community with my coworkers who I've never met in person, number one, but also the broader community of Alpha. So I'm really excited at reconnecting in that way culturally. It's been a long time since I've been in a huge space like that has been completely filled with just a bunch of Latina people. So I'm really excited to experience that. I imagine it's going to feel quite beautiful. We have some questions coming in via the chat. So somebody asked, what is the Powerful Perspective series? And I can answer that. So the Powerful Perspective series is programming that is specifically geared towards executives or soon to be executives. And these are opportunities that will allow attendees to take a seat at the table and learn about how to level up their career by hearing directly from C-suite level leaders and business influencers from Fortune 500 organizations. The other powerful perspective session that's going to be happening is actually also with executive search firm recruiters. So these are people that help these Fortune 500 organizations hire their leadership. So they're also going to be talking about what it's like to be on the lookout for talent in that way. So be on the lookout for that programming. Another question that came through, and Sandy, perhaps you can help answer this. What is it? When is the career fair? I believe that's what the question was. When is the career fair?
Yeah, so the career fair is going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday. The hours that we have for this year are 9:30 and 11:30, and then 1 to 3 p.m. So we have like a little lunch break there in the middle for people to kind of take a break, get something to eat, decompress, check out La Placita, connect whatever it is that you want to do. And then you can definitely leverage those career fair hours while also not having to worry about missing out on main stage or like the innovation main stage, things like that.
Thank you. And we have one more question. What are some key dates and times I should be aware of during the convention? Who wants to answer that one?
So it depends on what you're at convention for. And so I'd love to answer that question by telling you all the things I'm looking out for sure. I will share. Definitely our welcome reception is a quick kickoff to the experience as a whole. That's where you start building those relationships. Make sure that for our professionals who've purchased tickets to our Women of Alpha programming. We have our breakfast, we have our luncheon, so there's some really great programming there. Our veterans programming and our Pride programming as well. So I do want to share that those are communities that are continuing to grow within our familia. So make sure that you support those events there as well. We and I think we have something really special for a unique audience that's part of our Alpha community this year as well, which is for folks who are like in graduate school, adult learners, and things like that. So there are opportunities that are really unique. So I would say go on Cvent, go on the Cvent app. Look at the agenda, look at the opportunities that are available to you, because there are different opportunities depending on whether you're a student, whether you're a professional, that you're going to want to highlight for sure.
I'll give you some specific key dates. August 4th through the 8th. Those are the key dates that you guys all need to have in your calendars. On the 4th, there's something for you. On the 5th, there's something for you. On the 6th, 7th, and 8th, there's something for you. So make sure that you're looking at that agenda. Make sure you got it in your calendars. Those are the dates to look out for.
And then I think there was also a question about what to wear. So we have our fashion guide very beautifully put together by our marketing team. So there is a link that we can share with folks. But you want to make sure that you have some business casual, professional, two different things. If you're not sure what the difference is, Google is a great resource and can give you some images, but also our guide as well on what to wear is going to help you decipher that. Bring something white. We have our white party. For those of you who've been to convention, white party is a big deal. So make sure that you have something to wear that evening as well. If you'll be joining us for our gala, it is a gala. Black tie welcome, long, nice, sparkly dresses are welcome. Dress to impress. Make sure you have your nice earrings, your accessories, and things like that. For our ladies out there, if you feel like, oh my gosh, it's such a long day, how do I dress things up? Accessories are always really great. A scarf, earrings, things that you can use to dress things up and dress things down. Because maybe you're just layering, is a really smart way to be able to get through the whole day without feeling like you need to keep going to your hotel room to change. So definitely plan ahead and plan according to the things that you want to engage with as well. And then also yoga pants, because we have some really nice wellness sessions that people can take advantage of as well. And so pack a little bit of everything for sure, because again, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, like Sandy said, there will be something for you.
And if you're curious as to where you can find that what to wear guide, it's on our Instagram. So go to the ALPFA page on Instagram. It's definitely uploaded there. I think the link may have been dropped on LinkedIn if that's where you're watching. So y'all, we've reached the top of the hour, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, which means that we have come to the conclusion of our program. I want to extend my sincerest gratitudes to Gabriela, Chelsea, Jamelfrey, and Sandy for joining us on this call. And again, Gisela for running a point in our tech in the background. I'm really looking forward to meeting a bunch of you in 11 days. 11 days. say that one more time, 11 days, where we are going to just be building community and reframing our stories. So thank you for spending your afternoon with us, and we'll be seeing you soon. Bye.